Little Ace Gleason's fight for life began before his parents, Sheridan and Matt Gleason, went in for a routine maternity checkup.
So at 20 weeks, we went in for our anatomy scan, and they basically told us that they didn't think Ace had a brain. There was so much fluid on his head, and that day, or maybe 2 weeks later, they had diagnosed him with holoprosencephaly, which means your body basically doesn't split down the middle. His life expectancy was minutes after birth. So we went through a lot of counseling to prepare for death.
But an unexpected second opinion offered Matt and Sheridan hope for life.
Maybe a week or two before he was born, our specialist was out of town, and we saw a different one, and she told us that he had a brain, and they thought it had split in the middle, and he just had a severe case of hydrocephalus.
Aqueductal stenosis was the cause. I mean, there wasn't a great outlook either way. I mean, it was kind of prepare for surgery as soon as he's born, to go in and put a shunt in.
They didn't know if he would live, if he would thrive. It was just put the shunt in and let's see what it does. I mean, his head was probably the size of a bowling ball when he was born.
The surgery was a success. Ace made slow progress until an unforeseen infection to the brain caused further neurological damage.
He had a pretty severe incident when he was 7 months old where his cerebellum swelled and his shunt failed. And so that set him back pretty severely on his balance-wise and set him back to basically newborn.
After 3 years of hospitals and surgeries, the family struggled to find the right direction for Ace's therapy.
We lived in Weatherford. I had tried a few private clinics and nothing felt like home, nothing felt like they were right for Ace.
Then Sheridan discovered West Texas Rehab.
We came down here for the initial consult, and I actually did that with his physical therapist, Megan. And from that day, it just felt like this is where Ace needs to be.
They had heard such great things about the rehab that they drove to Abilene to have him receive services here.
I mean, it was a 2-hour drive, but I'd drive anywhere for that kid.
We just made it a priority to get him here and get him all the help that we could.
The Gleason sacrifice has paid off exponentially.
Yeah, so when we started rehab, he wasn't walking. He was crawling some, but it was more of a scoot. He could talk, but he mostly mimicked you. He didn't have a lot. His fine motor was really, really poor.
So when I first started working with him, he had just started taking some steps using a walker. So obviously his milestones were delayed, I think early on to probably crawled a little bit later, started walking again not until right around age 3. And so that's the first thing that we really wanted to start working with, was to get him more independent with his mobility.
Because he has delays in all areas, fine motor, gross motor, and language skills. So we're a center that treats that all for him, and we work as a team, we collaborate as a team, we see how he's progressing, and we bring it together.
I've seen really great progress with them. Like I said, from being able to go from barely taking a few steps, having to have an assistive device, to now independent walking and running.
From there to now, I mean, he runs and plays and babbles all day long and tells stories and sings songs, and just leaps and bounds from start to now.
Now he's growing to where you can really have a conversation with him and talk to him about what he likes and what he does at school. So it's been really fun.
I don't know if I've ever seen him not smiling. And so he's happy to be here. He works hard. He is just kind of full of joy. And that's pretty contagious when you get to work with somebody like that. I really got to witness that at camp recently. So we got to come to our camp rehab for 3 days and did lots of really fun outdoor activities. One thing that was super special about that to me was my teenage kids got to volunteer, and so my son was paired up with Ace as his buddy at rehab.
So it's just great that she's his therapist, and then her whole family gets to come in and love him. I mean, where else are you going to get that your whole therapist family loves your kid who they kind of just met at camp rehab. So it's like one big family.
This is all made possible because generous donors know that West Texas Rehab provides an atmosphere like none other.
It's so great that we don't have to worry about that patient's ability to pay or whether their insurance denies as many visits as we need. We can keep treating because the donors support us and they know that what we're doing is worthwhile, and it's making all the patients' lives better, and it's making ACE's life better.
For a family that I don't know when the next medical bill is going to hit, we're still paying off several surgeries from when he was born. I mean, every medical bill just hits you hard. And for him to be able to attend therapy without that stress because of the donor program that they offer for families like ours, I can't put into words the relief you feel, because you want the best for your kid.